The story begins in the future. A fleet of battleships is patrolling space when they detect a warp gate opening dangerously close to them. They're shocked to see the enemy warping right in front of them. From the gate emerges a single mobile knight, identified as the infamous Black Titan, servant of the plundering Count. The fleet immediately opens fire, but the Black Titan effortlessly evades their attacks and destroys the small ships with ease. He then defeats the lead battleship with a single attack. He swiftly defeats nearby enemy units, taking down another battleship with one strike of his mecha sword. The boy gives an evil monologue, seeing them as weak and only worthy of being hunted. He demands they fight back and fulfill their role as prey. His maid, Amagi, a monotone woman, contacts him via hologram to check if he's safe. He assures her he's fine and thanks her for helping position the warp gate perfectly. He asks her to show the strength of their forces. Amagi then deploys the rest of their troops, ordering them to fire as soon as they're within range and to follow their lord, Liam Sera Banfield. Christiana Leda, the commander of Liam's mobile units, asks to launch. Amagi grants permission, though the warp success rate is dropping fast. Christiana doesn't care. She's determined to protect Liam and enters the warp gate, arriving by his side. Liam remarks she's late. She immediately apologizes to Lord Liam and promises to deal with the remaining enemies. Together, they engage the enemy fleet. Once their entire fleet is in range, they unleash a massive barrage, obliterating the enemy forces. Liam is pleased by the destruction. Nias contacts him to ask how he likes the new battleship she designed, bragging about its top-tier performance. Liam tells her not to bother him mid-battle with idle chatter, but she keeps going, even asking him to place a bulk order if he likes it, trying to tempt the younger man with her feminine allure. Realizing she won't leave him alone otherwise, he tells Amagi to place the order just to get her off his back. Reinforcements arrive as more of Liam's units warp in. Together, they crush their enemies. Liam relishes the feeling of crushing the weak and commands them all to kneel, declaring himself Liam, the evil lord, enacting revenge for the suffering he endured in his past life. The story then flashes back to Liam's previous life, where he was a miserable salaryman. After a hard day at work, he returns home to his wife and asks about their daughter, who's asleep. His wife tells him their daughter, Kanami, wants to adopt a dog after seeing one at a friend's house. He thinks it's not financially possible right now. On his day off, he takes them to a doghouse, and Kanami plays happily. His wife notices him staring at a dog and asks if he wants one too. He says he had one long ago that felt like family, but now, having her and Kanami is enough. He doesn't have time for a pet. The next day, he goes to work, thinking life is hard but worth it with his family. At work, he gets yelled at by his boss for not reporting something, despite having messaged him. His colleague advises him not to expect responses on Thursdays because the boss is always out partying. Liam's work life is terrible. His boss exploits him, subordinates mock him, and he's blamed for others' mistakes. But he still believes he can endure it all for his family. One day, his friend Nita tells him about a new mecha model going on sale. During a break, Liam visits the store, but instead sees his wife Mika chatting with another man. Suspicious, he remembers she was supposed to take Kanami to her sports club. Still, he refuses to believe anything's wrong. When he gets home, his wife tells him Kanami won a sword match at the club, which Kanami confirms, making him believe it was all a misunderstanding. The following day, he again visits the shop but doesn't see his wife until he spots her and Kanami with the same man. Kanami calls him Dad, shocking Liam. Confused and shaken, he returns to work only to be berated again by his boss. Later that day, he receives a call from his wife saying Kanami was in an accident. At the hospital, the doctor says she needs O-positive blood. Liam's blood type is AB positive, and his wife donates blood to Kanami. This leads him to realize Kanami can't biologically be his daughter. Later, he confronts his wife, demanding to know the truth. She turns it on him, saying he hasn't been present for 10 years. She married him to be happy, but he's always working, with no promotions or bonuses, and unable to provide for Kanami's future. She says she raised Kanami alone and that their life has been without him since all he does is sleep here. Lady is talking crazy. He does sleep here, but all she does is sleep around. Cheated on him years ago, got married to take his money and have an easy life, then had the child in on her plan. This is evil on another level. She's decided to leave with Kanami. Liam begs Kanami to choose him, but she chooses the other man as her father, breaking his heart. I've never seen a more reasonable crash out in my life. I'd wish I was a woman for like 2 minutes just to slap the shit out of this woman. But then he loses his job, gets yelled at by the boss, should have punched him, then gets fired from a construction job, should have punched him. But what happens next is the most hentai NTR shit I've ever seen. So basically his health deteriorates to the point he's about to die on his deathbed. In bed, a strange wave pool shows him the truth. His boss got him fired from work, used his computer to embezzle 50 million yen, then turned out to be the one banging his wife all these years, and the real father of his child. This is next level evil. At dinner, the two of them talk about their plan to put all the company's debt on her ex-husband. The man cries, not knowing what this even is, begging for it not to be true. But a man shows up in front of him, telling him this is reality. He mentions Liam has spent his whole life working himself to the bone just to make ends meet, only for his life to be full of lies. He asks Liam if he's really going to let them get away with all this evil. Liam refuses. He decides to get revenge, and the man likes the hatred in his eyes. Liam asks who he is, and the man introduces himself as the guide. The guide mentions he's taken an interest in Liam because he's a good man, but Liam thinks, living as a good man hasn't gotten me anything. I should have chased my own happiness from the start. Liam says if he had another life, he'd do whatever the hell he wants without caring for anyone else. The guide tells him he's in luck. He can reincarnate him into a different world. He asks Liam what kind of world he wants, and Liam chooses one with robots and magic, since he's always loved mecha stories. The guide explains that this world is ruled by royals and nobles and decides to reincarnate Liam as a count who rules an entire planet. Liam is thrilled and signs the contract. As he transfers into the other world, he thinks to himself, this time, I'm putting my happiness first. Me personally, I would have asked, can I get revenge on those two before I leave? Like, just give me 35 minutes alone with them. That's all I ask. A beam of light comes from his apartment as he vows to be as evil as he wishes. The story flashes back to the present, where we find that the protagonist has been reincarnated as a 5-year-old boy named Liam in the stellar system of Alcaeus. He reveals that he is the only son of Count Banfield, ruler of the stellar system, and currently resides on the planet Hydra. Hydra is overgrown with plants, with them all around houses. Upon returning home, his mother greets him warmly and congratulates him on his 5th birthday, promising him a special gift. Using hover magic, she takes him into another room where a massive present awaits. When unwrapped, it reveals a small box suspended inside. She tells Liam it contains a doll. Liam is confused, but it's specifically an order form for a custom-made AI robot. As Liam picks up the box, holographic samples appear before him, showcasing various customization options. His mother explains that he can tailor every aspect of the robot to his preferences, even down to intimate details. Though embarrassed by the genital customization options, she reassures him that the robot won't have those features unless he chooses them. She urges him to choose wisely, warning that a poor choice could bring future regret. Liam is bewildered by what kind of gift this is for a child. At that moment, his father enters and says that the robot is something Liam will desperately need. He adds that he has a gift of his own, being his own peerage, transferring ownership of the entire domain to Liam. His parents reveal they're moving to the Imperial homeworld, leaving Liam with full autonomy over the territory. They ask him to send them an allowance now and then, and he signs the necessary documents, officially becoming the new Count. Stunned by how quickly he's gained power, Liam reflects on how he was used and discarded in his past life. This time, he vows to become a tyrant who exploits others instead. He silently thanks the mysterious guide who made all this possible. Meanwhile, in his former world, the guide sits beside his corpse, amused by his misfortune and the suffering it caused. He finds such unfortunate souls common and chuckles, eager to see what Liam's wife will do next. The scene shifts to Liam's former wife dining with his boss. She feels no remorse for her husband's death and believes she's the real victim for wasting years on him. Just as she asks what lies ahead for her and their child, police arrive and arrest the man for embezzlement and framing someone else. They had already questioned one of the other chiefs of the company, who was his partner in this plan, not to mention other coworkers who told the side of the protagonist, as the police say all the evidence points toward him. With a warrant already issued for his arrest, the police handcuff him and begin to take him away. Mika gets up to try and get them to wait, as she has no way to provide for herself or the child without him. But the police don't spare her a glance and walk away. Shocked and abandoned, she's left to wonder about her future. The guide mocks her, saying she had a husband who would have done anything for her, yet she threw it away and spat on his tombstone. He declares she will never know happiness again, cursing her for the rest of her life, as the one man who truly loved her is gone. Back at Liam's lifeless body, the guide muses that soon Liam's soul will realize what happened, and when it does, it'll be filled with hatred and despair, fueling the guide with negative energy for a long time. In the other world, lifespans are much longer, meaning more suffering and, thus, more entertainment. The guide then exits through a mysterious door, followed by a spirit-like creature. Elsewhere in Liam's new world, a group of space bandits ambush a battleship from the Holy Kingdom of La. However, the ship mounts a strong counterattack, led by Princess Knight Christiana, the kingdom's first princess. One by one, she takes down the enemy's mobile knights, and her crew pushes back the bandit forces. Though retreating, the bandits continue their assault to ensure they can never return to the kingdom. The story returns to Liam as he receives his AI made. Packaged like a high-end mecha model, it's secured by a status field and can only be opened using his biometric data. He unlocks it with a touch, revealing his personal AI maid, Amagi. The butler explains that she'll be his full-time attendant, requiring 2 hours of weekly maintenance. But after that, she's ready to go. The AI maid bows and greets her master. Liam doesn't waste time to ruffle her feathers as he really enjoys the softness feature. The butler is shocked by his actions and doesn't think this is proper behavior, asking him what he's doing. Liam doesn't stop but simply looks at him, replying that he's inspecting the goods, making sure they're built just the way he likes them. Truly a man of culture. Not wanting to waste time talking to an old, crusty dude, he takes the hand of Amagi, blushing, and asks her if they should continue with their playtime. The AI agrees, and the two hover away, with him ready to check out every nook and cranny. Wanting privacy, he takes Amagi to his playroom, ignoring the butler's protests. Later, Liam becomes more at ease with Amagi, even requesting a massage. When he asks about her hygiene, she replies that she self-cleansed during maintenance. The butler catches up to them. He's surprised by how quickly Liam's attitude changed as he isn't nervous. Asking what was happening in this playroom, Liam shrugs it off, stating that while he may be 5 physically, he has the mind of a 36-year-old man. The butler responds that even 36 is still the age of a child, and Amagi adds that adulthood in the Empire begins at 50, with most people living to 100 before being considered adults. Some even live up to 500 to 600 years. Liam is excited by the long lifespan, realizing he has plenty of time to pursue all his ambitions. The butler, however, warns him not to get too close to Amagi. The Empire, he explains, harbors a deep hatred for AI due to a past conflict where AI nearly drove humanity to extinction. A brave faction eventually overthrew the AI and re-established human rule. They went on to found the Empire. This is why AI is still heavily distrusted. Curious why his mother would give him an AI despite this, Liam presses the butler for the truth. Reluctantly, the butler admits that his parents have abandoned him. They fled because they were buried under massive debts. Liam learns that while his great-grandfather Alistair once brought prosperity to the Banfield domain, he failed in raising a smart heir. Things deteriorated under the rule of his grandfather and father. Now their industries have collapsed, tax revenue is dwindling, and creditors have seized control of the frontier planet's resources, with no way in sight to reduce their debts. The future looks grim, and Liam's dream of becoming a tyrannical lord may be harder to realize than expected. The scene shifts to a rundown tavern in Liam's domain, where a man comes into a poorly-looking bar for a drink. The locals discuss the shocking news. Their new ruler is just 5 years old. The nobles, it seems, are at it again. The old man tells the younger man the problems of his youth as he remembers the last transferring of power where they enforced harsh taxes, something they do every time a new ruler comes to power. The man scowls at this, as the nobles just look at them as livestock. The barwoman asks the man to keep it down, as the walls have ears. She just hopes the new ruler will be better, but they don't believe it since he's only 5 years old. Meanwhile, Liam is bewildered by how poor his domain is and wonders if his parents had him just so he'd take on their debts. The butler replies bluntly that this actually could be the case. Liam can't help but think about how he was used in his past world, only to come here and be used again. He explains this to Amagi. The robot agrees. He then points out that she doesn't seem welcomed in this world either, so he asks her to join him in being outcasts together. Amagi is shocked by his sincerity, but the butler warns him against this. Liam is tired of being pushed around. He wants power and everything he's ever desired, so he asks Amagi again to join him. Amagi refuses, much to his disappointment. Instead, she bows to him, stating that her purpose purpose is to serve him. She doesn't believe herself to be an outcast, but promises to support him in his goals for as long as he lives. He then decides to confer to her the 3 basic laws of robotics so that something like the AI war doesn't happen again. First is to not harm a human. He repeats the word human and becomes angry. He doesn't care about anyone else, so he says to hell with that command and the 3 rules of robotics. He redefines her laws. She is not allowed to harm him, she must obey his orders, and she must protect her own life. Liam then asks if she has any ideas on how he can revitalize his domain. She tells him that, as an AI, her ideas might not align with the Empire's philosophies. However, she is equipped with functions that can assist with governance. She offers administrative support if he wishes. He admits he doesn't know anything about governance and wonders if she can still help. She suggests he use an education capsule, explaining that it can install 10 years worth of knowledge into his brain and also strengthen his body in just 6 months. He wonders who will manage the domain during that time. She offers to do it, and he agrees. The butler thinks it's too dangerous to let an AI rule the domain, warning that it could turn against humanity. But Liam assures him it'll be fine. She's his AI, and he doesn't want humanity wiped out. The butler argues that the Empire won't accept governance by AI, but Amagi counters, saying there's no law outright banning it. Still, the Empire prefers AI use to be kept to a minimum. Liam asks the butler, Brian, to ready an education capsule for him. He puts Amagi in charge of the domain while he's inside. She understands. The scene cuts to Liam entering the education capsule. Before sealing himself in, he asks Amagi if AI can feel emotions. Even if she doesn't, he suggests she must have an algorithm that mimics human behavior. He asks how it works. She replies that she doesn't know if she has emotions, but earlier when he asked her to team up with him, it caused a cache memory overflow in her system. He's surprised to hear this. Then he steps inside the capsule and tells her to take care of everything while he's gone. The guide explains that he feeds on all forms of negative emotions, showing he's not loyal to helping Liam. To illustrate his point, in his original world, a beautiful woman on her day off charms the cook of a ramen shop to get an additional portion of meat and vegetables. The woman adores this combination, as it's the perfect reward for working hard, only to break her chopsticks, leaving her disheartened. The guide calls the negative emotion tasty. The scene shifts to Liam stepping out of his education capsule. He asks Amagi how long he's been in, and she replies that's been exactly 2 years. Surprised, Liam says it didn't feel that long. Amagi explains that's because there's no perception of time inside the capsule. Liam wonders if he's gotten stronger since he doesn't feel any different, but Amagi tells him his body has been physically enhanced by the night raising program. However, he'll need rehabilitation to adjust to his growth. The next scene shows Amagi presenting the economic status of the Banfield territory while Liam sits on his throne. Liam observes that everything looks stable and thinks leaving her in charge was the right call, as things have relatively improved. She's pleased by his approval. Liam remarks that he should personally inspect his territory. Cut to the Banfield Army's spaceport. Liam sees a spaceship launching, feeling like a kid Elon Musk. Amagi points out the floating dock and satellite orbit. She explains the dock is used for maintaining their space battleships. Liam is geeking out, having always been a fan of Star Trek and mecha anime. She then brings him to the mobile night base, where Liam is shocked to see actual robots. Amagi explains that these are old model mobile knights called Mojave. Liam wishes he could show them to Nita-kun, being the last positive light he had in his past world. She notes they lack the funds to maintain them, but Liam doesn't see why that matters. They're the dream of any true man. When he mentions he'd like to ride one, she sees the look on his face and arranges it. Liam is thrilled. In the next scene, Liam is inside one of the robots. Amagi explains that basic movement is automated, while the rest is controlled via magic. Essentially, the machine will move as he imagines it. From the look on Liam's face, you know the nerd's mecha heart is hard right now. Liam unplugs the connecting wires and walks out, wondering if it has any weapons. Amagi says it does, but they've been removed for safety. Liam wants to test it in combat, and Amagi arranges a sparring match. Captain M shows up for the duel. From his tone, Liam knows this man won't go easy just because of his age, but as the theme music plays for an epic battle, Liam defeats him with a single blow and is angered by the captain taking it easy on him, asking if he takes him for a fool. Demanding a real fight, Liam challenges M again. This time, M beats Liam barehanded, leaving him stunned. Amagi explains that the magic controls reflect the pilot's actual fighting ability. Later, Liam tells his butler that he wants a teacher to become stronger. The butler insists it's unnecessary since Liam won't need to fight. But Liam insists if he's going to be an evil lord, he'll need the strength to crush his enemies. He was trampled by the powerful in his past world. Never again. We then meet his new teacher, Ryoushu, who introduces himself as a master of the Way of the Flash. Liam is excited. Ryoushu looks like a character from an old samurai drama. Ryoushu boasts that his sword school is aiming to be the best in the universe, though no one's reached that level yet. His words sound deep, if not a little pretentious. Amagi finds him suspicious, but Liam is taken in, convinced that Ryoushu is a detached master. Still cautious, Amagi suggests they test his skills. At the training grounds, Ryoushu performs a technique he calls flash, a rapid draw move that slices through logs in a single motion. Amagi advises him to pick a different instructor, but Liam, seeing old samurai moves, believes these shady-looking characters are always the strongest. When Amagi reviews the footage, she finds that Ryoushu never actually drew his sword. He begs to be taken as a disciple, and Ryoushu agrees. That night, Ryoushu returns to the training grounds and reveals the truth. He never used a real technique. The logs were already cut, and Liam fell for a simple trick. Ryoushu laughs at how gullible he is. Meanwhile, Princess Christiana arrives to negotiate with the bandit leader who attacked them. Surprisingly, she shows no fear. She warns him that if anything happens to her, the nearby Alliance fleet will annihilate him. But the bandit leader, Goaz, reveals that he's the one who called the Alliance. Christiana receives a message from her home planet, Mysteria. Pirate ships are approaching. Goaz explains that the Alliance isn't loyal to her kingdom. Some factions dislike her nation. The fleet even aims its weapons at her ship. Goaz says it all came down to money, and if she cares about her planet, she should listen to him. Back with Liam, 3 years pass. He continues training under Ryoushu, but he's frustrated he still hasn't learned the flash move. When asked, Amagi says she can't answer, being an AI. Liam realizes that Ryoushu has only taught him the basics this whole time. The maid robot admits he's quite strong now as he's mastered martial arts fundamentals, but Liam wants real combat techniques. We cut to Ryoushu lounging at home, reading manga and thinking about how easy the job is. He's well paid for teaching simple moves in a lavish Japanese house, and Liam still hasn't caught on that the Flash was fake. Liam visits him, and Ryoushu quickly hides his manga, pretending to be the serious samurai master he envisions. Liam asks to learn the Flash move. Ryoushu abruptly excommunicates him, saying he already warned him it would be shown only once. If Liam can't appreciate that, he doesn't deserve to be in the school. Liam apologizes, begging for forgiveness. Ryoushu relents and agrees to stay, warning there won't be a next time. As Liam leaves, Ryoushu returns to snacking, only for Liam to immediately return, prompting Ryoushu to act serious again. Liam says he'll add a bonus to compensate for the trouble. Ryoushu says fine, and Liam informs him he won't be in class tomorrow due to other duties. As Liam leaves again, Ryoushu thinks he really is a fool. Elsewhere, Goaz has captured Christiana's ship and taken her hostage. She asks what he plans to do to her, and he says she'll have a front row seat to her planet's destruction. Despite her pleas, Goaz ignores her. His pirate ships begin bombarding her home planet from space, covering it in devastation like nothing ever seen before. Back at the Banfield estate, Liam is upset he still hasn't learned any special techniques. Amagi shows him the monthly economic report. Debt remains, but production and sales are steadily increasing. Liam praises her, saying putting her in charge was the right decision. She humbly accepts the compliment, but she notes that the growth rate is lower than expected. When he asks where the issue lies, she shows him a report from the welfare program, stating that this is just one example, but the results are below expectations for the amount invested. Liam asks her to summon the man in charge, and she does. Liam inquires what excuse the greasy man has for the embezzlement. The man insists it's all concealed, but there are signs of his deeds. He even has an idea of the others involved. He begins to stammer, claiming Liam must be misunderstanding things due to his youth. Liam doesn't want to hear the man's drivel, but the man insists the spending was necessary. Liam tells him not to insult his intelligence. He's used to reading invoices. The man tries blaming a new vendor, but Liam asks why they're behind schedule. As the man continues to lie, Liam knows he's been taking bribes from vendors and stealing money. While Liam considers adding this man's schemes to his own How to Be an Evil Lord playbook, Amagi interrupts. She's tracked the embezzlement to a larger scandal. Liam reads it and sweat drops. This man took so much money he couldn't even hide it all. The man nervously smiles, blaming his subordinates. Liam checks with Amagi and she agrees. Previously found guilty of embezzlement was a scapegoat. No evidence was submitted and the real culprit is standing in front of them. Liam is angry because this is exactly what happened to him in his past life. Liam realizes what really happened, angrily asking the man if he framed his subordinate and then killed him. The man yells that it isn't true. Pointing to Amagi, he shouts that Liam shouldn't believe the words of dolls as they're the enemy of them all. Liam doesn't listen to him. He only sees red. With his sword in hand, he walks calmly over to the man. As he's ready to end him, Amagi tells him he can't do this. The man calls him a brat, saying he has no right to lecture anyone while sitting in such a luxury palace. Liam cuts off the man's head. He furiously states that he is the only one allowed to abuse his people and that no one can touch his money or his people without his permission. Amagi tells him the man is already dead, yet he's still furious. He orders her to investigate this thoroughly and eliminate every corrupt official. She tells him to put down his sword first. His hands start to shake, and Amagi helps him let go of it. She tells him that if they execute every corrupt official, it's going to cause problems. He can't believe there are so many of them. He asks her what the solution is, and she tells him to prepare a large number of dolls. They don't have to be on the same level as her, but he'll need 30 of them, and some should be specialized in governance. He gives her permission to do whatever she wants, and she asks if he's sure this might change his reputation, but he doesn't mind because he trusts her more than the rest of these scum. The scene then cuts to the bar from earlier. One of the men there states that the Lord has executed all the corrupt officials. Another agrees, and the first man says the Lord is also going to change compulsory education from 3 years to 6 years, since he has a buddy working overtime to build a school. One guy still doesn't want to believe this noble is any different, but the bar woman admits she never would have guessed this 5 years ago, and they're all surprised to learn their Lord is only 10 years old. The scene then cuts to Liam at the Magic Knight hangar. He thinks that he should be able to control a Magic Knight now, as he's been training in swordsmanship for 3 years. But Yushi stops him, telling him there's no meaning in using an automatic, mass-produced unit that anyone can use. He mentions that Liam will have to control a unit no one else can handle if he wants to make it to the top, and Liam agrees. He asks the captain about this, and the captain tells him there's an old, non-automatic model that his great-grandfather used to pilot,